I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Population 100 of the Lower Peninsula, 30 miles from Lake Michigan. Grand Rapids is a typical Midwestern city, sharing the problems and joys of every other American city. It's called the furniture capital of the world. However, our industry is not restricted to furniture. Our manufacturers are known corporations, being built adjacent to some beautiful older areas. We're proud of our churches. We're proud of our schools and the far-sighted program of our boards of education. We are proud of our children and look forward to their future. We're especially concerned with their safety and health. We guard them against disease and accidents. We protect our children through safety programs. Not a child has been killed on his way to or from school in 21 years. I was particularly pleased when my daughter came home and told me that she had had her teeth examined in school. The next time I visited my dentist, he told me about the dental decay studies conducted in Grand Rapids by the United States Public Health Service, the University of Michigan, and the Michigan Department of Health. The water supply for Grand Rapids comes from Lake Michigan, about 30 miles west of Grand Rapids, where an intake pipe is located about a mile out in the lake. A pumping station sends the water toward Grand Rapids, where a second pumping station boosts the water load along its way to the city. These pumps can deliver 60 million gallons of water a day to our filtration plant. The superintendent explains to us that alum, charcoal, and chlorine are added to the water before it enters the mixing basin. Sulfur dioxide and sodium fluoride are added after the water leaves the settling basins and before it enters the filters. The materials used in water production include sand and gravel, lime, alum, charcoal, fluoride, chlorine, and sulfur dioxide. The alum is used to precipitate the foreign material from the water. The charcoal to remove odors and taste, and the sodium fluoride to reduce the amount of tooth decay. The chlorine purifies the water, and the sulfur dioxide is used to remove the excess chlorine in the water. Here we see the equipment used to add sodium fluoride to the water supply. This carefully controlled amount of fluoride is perfectly safe and absolutely harmless. From the filtration plant, the water is distributed through our water system to our homes. Here is water produced under the most exacting conditions, containing a safe, controlled amount of sodium fluoride, which will reduce tooth decay in our children. The approximate cost of fluoridation of the water supply is 14 cents per person per year. This map shows towns using naturally fluoridated water containing 7/10 parts per million of fluoride. These towns add fluoride in a controlled amount, and over 30 million people are now drinking controlled fluoridated water. There's no difference between the fluoride in naturally fluoridated water and the fluoride added to water in a controlled fashion. These two samples of naturally fluoridated water were taken from two wells located near Saginaw and Flint. The water from wells A and B being placed in beakers then poured into test tubes. Here we see a beaker of Grand Rapids water supplemented with fluoride, and distilled water which contains no fluoride. The reagent for the test is drawn into a pipette and is placed in all 4 of the test tubes. Samples A and B from the naturally fluoridated wells, Grand Rapids water, and water known to contain no fluoride. The test shows that the fluoride in wells A and B and Grand Rapids water is the same. The response of distilled water is a negative pink color. My dentist and I went to see Dr. Winston B. Prothrow, City and County Health Officer. We asked him some questions. Is fluoridation safe? In my opinion, he answered, it is completely safe. What effect has it had on the disease rate in Grand Rapids? No ill effects whatsoever. The death rates for most diseases have actually decreased, although we do not credit for this decline. Would you recommend that a city use fluoride in its water supply? I have recommended it since the value of fluoridation for the prevention of dental decay has become known. I would certainly recommend it for any community in which I have health jurisdiction. On file with the County Dental Society are statements from members of the medical profession over and over again that they have seen no ill effects from the fluoridation of the Grand Rapids water. At the dental office, my dentist showed me some actual cases of tooth destruction in a girl age has 14 surfaces of her teeth involved in dental decay. Another little girl, age 5, with 11 surfaces of her teeth involved in dental decay. This boy, 8, with 31 surfaces of his teeth attacked by dental decay. This girl, 9, with 25 surfaces of her teeth decayed. I was very pleased when the dentist started to tell me about my own children. And I was glad to see that Bill, who was 4, had no surfaces of his teeth attacked by decay. And Molly, who was 6, had none. Noreen, who was 9, had only 3. And Susan, who's 10, had only 4. Here's Bill with 4 years of drinking fluoridated water and no areas of decay. Molly, with 6 years of fluoridated water and no areas of decay. Noreen, with 9 years of fluoridated water and only 3 areas of decay. And Susan, with 10 years of fluoridated water and only 4 areas of decay. We visited a school while a dentist from the United States Public Health Service was making an examination. These examinations are carefully made to note all the conditions present in each child's mouth. These examinations have been conducted twice a year for a period of 10 years, and the findings have been recorded tooth by tooth and compared with findings before fluoridation began, and also with data from a city with naturally fluoridated water. A person with a high decay rate has a large number of lactobacillus bacteria present in the saliva. Since fluoridation was begun and the decay rate decreased, laboratory tests have shown a corresponding decrease in the high lactobacillus counts. A sample of the test saliva is placed on the culture plate. After incubation, the bacteria colonies are counted and recorded. The large white bacterial colonies seen on this plate indicate a high decay rate. This plate with a few bacterial colonies indicates low decay activity, which is typical since fluoridation began. And as a result of this 10-year study, the decay rate for children from 5 to 10 years of age in Grand Rapids has gone down 63%. I was happy to know of the careful control that was kept on this study and the scientific methods used, and the wonderful result obtained with complete safety. I'm glad that my children have had the benefit of fluoridation of our water. I'm proud of the way we protect children in their play and on the way to school. We guard them in every way possible against accidents and disease. As a result of fluoridation, our children will be healthier and happier.
These are Cleveland County children. We like to think they're healthy, happy children. Or are these children of ours really so healthy after all? Can you call anyone healthy with teeth like these in his mouth? Bad teeth are too high a price for any child to have to pay for civic carelessness. Any community can save its children's teeth. We proved that right here in Cleveland County.
But where do you start?
What steps do you take?
Yes, how can we organize our town for dental health?
How? Well, these ideas have worked for us and other towns. Begin by encouraging your dentist to take the lead. They'll want to help, for they know that almost every person suffers from some dental disease, that more than 9 out of 10 children have 1 or more decayed teeth by the time they're 6, that the Army has to provide nearly 1,000 fillings and extractions for every 100 men inducted. Get your local dental association to work with you. It's an organization that knows the facts on tooth decay, one that can help you plan constructive action. Then, rouse community-wide support. Work with civic clubs, church groups, parent-teacher associations, the local health department. Reach out to every corner of your county, the schools, the organizations, towns and rural areas alike. Show every member of your community how vital it is to strike at tooth decay and build dental health now. Leaders of our dental health drive sent a delegation to the state capitol at Oklahoma City. They asked Dr. Frank Bertram, Director of Preventive Dentistry of the State Department of Health, to help them get a sodium fluoride demonstration team to visit Norman, the Cleveland County seat. These teams were set up to aid in familiarizing both dentists and public with a new and revolutionary technique for cutting down tooth decay, the sodium fluoride treatment. Dr. Bertram agreed to cooperate, and detailed plans for a county-wide campaign were worked out. Soon its scope was expanded far beyond the mere promotion of the fluoride demonstration, till it became a drive for a broad, integrated program covering the whole field of dental health. In developing such a campaign, it's essential that teachers get their share of training, background information, for the dental health program centers in the schools. If we're to save teeth, the biggest part of the job must be done with children before bad practices take their toll. Teachers, in turn, carry the campaign into the classrooms. The youngsters have fun with all sorts of projects linked to the program. They draw pictures, write essays, make posters, and they pick up a lot of information about dental hygiene, too. Soft drinks and candy encourage tooth decay. Children must learn to avoid them. In one of our schools, the Student Health Council took up the problem. The delegates couldn't see any reason for keeping such tooth destroyers in the schools. So by their own vote, they asked that all soft drink and candy vending machines be removed. Now the old machines are gone, replaced by something a whole lot better. Some schools have even staged sodium fluoride pageants. They help educate parents as well as children to the fact that topical application of sodium fluoride can cut tooth decay by 40% or more. Once Mother and Dad understand the importance of topical application of sodium fluoride, they are more than happy to cooperate. When the groundwork of dental health education has been laid, the demonstration team went to work in our schools, applying the solution to our children's teeth, teaching our dentists and public health workers approved fluoridation technique, treating youngsters from every corner of the county. The topical application process itself is quick, simple, and painless. First, each child's teeth are cleaned. Next, they're dried. Then, they're painted with a 2% sodium fluoride solution 4 times, from 2 to 7 days apart. Tooth decay is cut 40% when 4 such treatments are given at proper intervals during childhood. But the team's job is just to demonstrate the treatment. It can handle only a small proportion of any community's children during its brief stay. That means you'll probably have to raise money to continue the work, cash to care for all. If you live where there's a city water system, you'll probably want your community to install a simple fluoride feeder such as this one. Such a unit injects the proper amount of fluorine into your drinking water. You can expect it to slash child tooth decay as much as 60%. And it only costs about 10 cents per person per year once the equipment is installed. Oklahoma's State Board of Health has already outlined the correct procedure for your town to follow in arranging for fluoridation. There's nothing at all complicated about it. Start by getting an okay from your local physicians and dentists and health department. Then ask your city council to enact a fluoridation ordinance. Once it's passed, equipment to feed fluorine into the water system can be purchased and installed. But fluoridation and education can't eliminate all tooth troubles. There's still a vital need for regular dental care. That means more work, more money, more concentration on this continuing 4-point program to blast your target, tooth decay. First, build a strong dental health committee. Second, teach your town tooth care. Third, provide fluoridation for all, topically or in drinking water. And fourth, make available regular professional dental care. This, then, is one way to organize for dental health. One way to tackle tooth decay. These are some of the things we and others have done. The things your community, too, can do. A hard job? Yes, sometimes. Uniting people behind any program takes effort. But that's the way with almost anything worthwhile. And what could be more worthwhile than the fight for better health, better teeth, less dental pain for your community's boys and girls?
May we have quiet, please? So the meeting come to order. In order to save time, I'd like first just to say to you how much we appreciate your turning out tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to turn the meeting over now to our speaker of the evening, Mrs. Thomas.
The reason we're all here tonight is because we care so much about the health of our children. At our last meeting, our association decided to have this committee go into the question of fluoridation of our water supply and then make a report about it. When I was asked to serve on this committee, I said yes right away for two very special reasons. Those reasons are my two children, Joe and Donald. I think that the experience in my family is like in most others. My youngsters get the right foods and they're pretty good about brushing their teeth, yet still they keep getting cavities. Now my feeling is, if there's something that will cut down the amount of tooth decay, I want to know about it, provided of course that it's safe. When our committee last met, we decided that each member should talk to his own physician and dentist, and then we should get together and compare notes. Dr. Burns, whom many of you know, has been my family physician since I was a little girl. I asked him what he could tell me about fluoridation. He gave me a lot of his time and furnished me with a lot of information. It's very kind of him to take the interest to attend our meeting tonight. In the first place, I asked Dr. Burns, are physicians concerned about tooth decay, or do they leave it up to the dentist to worry about? I was surprised by what he said, that tooth decay is actually classed as a chronic disease.
Yes, tooth decay is a chronic disease, affecting 95% of all Americans. It leads to pain, loss of teeth, and impairs our ability to chew and digest food. Tooth decay can affect general health and lead to personal disfigurement. It is an expensive disease. As a nation, our dental bill runs to $1.5 billion per year. What causes tooth decay? How do we prevent it? All over the United States, scientists in research centers are searching for the answers to these questions. They seek ways of fortifying teeth against decay. They investigate the effects of diet on teeth and of teeth on general health. One such research center is the School of Medicine and Dentistry at the University of Rochester. The scientists who staff its clinic and laboratories work as a team, searching for ways to prevent tooth decay. The head of this team is Dr. Basil G. Bibby, known for his pioneer experiments with fluoride as a weapon against decay. Public health workers had noticed that the people in certain localities had exceptionally good teeth. Many had no cavities at all. This was true in parts of Texas, the Middle West, and other areas. Careful study determined that it was fluoride,
naturally present in the drinking water, which was responsible for these healthier teeth. In an effort to make this protection available to everyone, Dr. Bibby studied the effects of fluoride when applied directly to the teeth. Other workers investigated the addition of fluoride to the water supplies. Dr. Bibby tells us what they found.
Fortunately, some years ago, it was found that fluorine in the drinking water had a considerable effect in reducing dental decay. And many cities in the United States, such as San Francisco, Cleveland, and Buffalo, have added fluorine to the drinking water. And others are doing it to the extent that about 1/5 of the people in the United States now have the benefit of this addition. In Rochester, we have been fortunate in having fluoride in the drinking water for 5 years. And we've been studying the effects, not only on our patients, but also some of the chemical effects which we can find out in our research laboratories. Some of this information we'd like to tell you about. However, the man who has seen more of this than anybody else, and who has seen the effect of this fluoride on the children, is Dr. Hawes, who is in charge of our clinic. Dr. Hawes, you come.
Dr. Bibby?
I'd like you to say something about the effects of fluoride as you see it in the children who come into this clinic for re-examination from time to time.
Well, yes, Dr. Bibby, we've been very pleased to find that the children who come to us have now, since we've had fluorine in our drinking water, much less tooth decay, and we are seeing more children who have no tooth decay than ever before.
In other words, you're finding more than the 5% we used to see without dental decay.
Oh, yes, indeed. I would hazard to say we're seeing a great deal more than that.
I understand in some communities they even get as much as 1/3 of the children, or more than 1/3 of the children, who have absolutely no dental decay.
I'd agree with that wholeheartedly.
Dr. Hodge, here's another good case.
Oh, yes. Joan, may I see the record here, please?
Certainly.
Yes, this little girl was born here in Rochester after fluorine had been added to our water supply.
Look at
And, Dr. Bibby, would you like to see it? Not a cavity there.
That's certainly good, isn't it? Can I have a look, too? Let me have a look in here. You say she was born in Rochester
Yes, sir.
and has lived here all her life.
Yes, all the time, and she was born, of course, after fluorine had been added to the water supply.
You think this is unusual nowadays?
Well, it's not anymore. It certainly used to be.
The benefits of fluoride extend to people of all ages. And studies at Boulder, Colorado have demonstrated that once this protection is established, it continues undiminished throughout life. These benefits are so obvious and important that hundreds of progressive communities now add fluoride to their water supply. Chicago, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and the nation's capital all make this protection available to their citizens. But fears about the safety of fluoridation have delayed its adoption in some places. Dr. Harold Hodge, a distinguished toxicologist on the Rochester team, has carefully investigated the safety of fluoridation.
Well, to put it very simply, fluoride is safe at 1 part per million. Now, we sometimes say, is fluoride poison? Yes, of course it's a poison in large doses, just like ordinary table salt is a poison in large doses. But the amount of fluoridated water, drinking water, that would have to be consumed to be fatally poisonous would be 50 bathtubs full. Well, now, what about an accident? Suppose there's a breakdown at the plant, the water treatment plant, where fluoride is added to the water. Would this produce fatal poisoning? The answer is no. Here in Rochester, for example, we have one machine that adds all the fluoride to our drinking water. It would be necessary to have 100 such machines and have them all break down simultaneously and all put all their fluoride in the drinking water at one instant to produce poison. So there's no question about accident. What about the long-term effects? This is an important and often raised question. When people drink 1 part per million of fluoride in the water for their lifetime, what about the effects? We have lots of information on this point. Fluoride occurs naturally in the drinking water in many places, particularly in the Southwest. For example, in the state of Texas, there is an area larger than the state of Pennsylvania, where almost all of the water has fluoride in it. These people have been living there and drinking this water for generations. And yet, among them, there is no known toxic effect that would cause us to doubt the safety of fluoride in the drinking water. We also have added fluoride artificially. For example, at Newburgh, New York. And in that city, there has been the best long-term medical study of children in medical history. And it shows clearly that the children are perfectly healthy, just as healthy as if there was no fluoride in the drinking water, for example, in the neighboring city of Kingston. So, this brings us back to the fundamental point. Fluoride is safe. And I think I can say in conclusion that there is no health hazard that justifies postponing water fluoridation.
When a public water supply is deficient in fluoride, precision machinery can be installed at the water plant to add the tiny amount needed to correct this deficiency. For years, waterworks engineers have been using the same type of equipment to add as many as 20 different substances to water supplies. Experienced waterworks men can easily comply with the rigid testing standards of the state health departments. Every year, more people insist that the fluoride content of their drinking water be brought up to par. Today, about 32 million Americans receive this protection at an average cost of only 10 cents per person per year. This modest expense saves each of them many dollars in dental bills. A recent study compared dental expenses in two communities. During the first 16 years of life, dental bills averaged $183, where the water supply was deficient in fluoride, and only $39 where the fluoride content was up to par, a saving of $143 per person. And so, for the sake of all our future generations, more and more people are telling their neighbors,
yes, it's wonderful to know that this protection, which costs only a few pennies per person per year, actually will save us many, many dollars a year. But the truly important thing is that science has found a weapon against tooth decay. Even if it cost not 10 cents a year, but 100 times that much, it would be worth it. In just the same way, for instance, that the Salk anti-polio vaccine would be worth it if its dollar cost were many times higher than it actually is. The question is, how soon can we begin to benefit from this discovery? This committee, after getting the opinions of many different people and going over all the information and literature put out by different organizations on the subject of fluoridation, has reached the following unanimous agreement. We firmly believe that fluoridation should be adopted because it is a safe, sensible, natural, and effective way to protect our community against dental decay. Speaking for myself, now that I have all the facts, I deplore the amount of time we've wasted in putting fluoridation into effect and in letting so many other progressive communities get ahead of us. We don't think much of parents who neglect to teach their children to brush their teeth. Yet, as a community, we're neglecting something just as important and effective. That is, seeing to it that our water supply contains the right amount of fluorine for healthy teeth. Now I say, let's not neglect this any longer. In my opinion, it's our duty as citizens to support our dentists and physicians and to get action. It's up to us to tell our friends, our neighbors, the people we work with, how important this is. It's up to us to demand of our city officials that the fluorine deficiency in our water supply be corrected now, this year. We simply cannot afford delay and postponement on this important health measure.
Wonderful. Great job. You did an awesome job.
Thank you very much.
I don't see how they did a grand job on
Let's see if we can get something done about it.